The hotel advertised itself as business-friendly. 22 floors of brushed steel and smoked glass pressed between a shuttered cinema and a parking structure that smelled like rusting urine. The vacancy light blinked even at midnight. A red pulse like a weak heartbeat. I checked in at 11:47 p.m. The man at the desk didn't look up when I said my name. He slid a key card across the counter with 2 fingers, as if it might bite him. "Elevators are to your left," he said. "If the phone rings after midnight, don't answer." I laughed because people say odd things in cities at night. He didn't. The hallway on the 17th floor was long and narrow, carpet patterned in looping vines that seemed to twist when I walked. The air was cold in patches. My breath fogged near room 1708, then warmed again near 1712. Somewhere, a television murmured through a wall, laughter canned and hollow. My room smelled clean in the way hospitals smell clean. Antiseptic trying to bury something else. I set my bag down and checked the locks. The door had a bolt and a chain. The window didn't open. At midnight exactly, the phone rang. I stared at it from the bed. The ring was old-fashioned, metallic, shrill, wrong for a modern hotel. I let it ring until it stopped. The silence afterward felt too thick, like the room was holding its breath. A minute later, a knock came at the door. 3 quick taps, then a pause, then 2 more. "Housekeeping," a woman's voice said. She sounded tired. "Close." I checked the peephole. No one stood there. "Sir?" The voice asked, now right beside my ear, though the door hadn't opened. "You left something." The chain rattled by itself. I stepped back. My phone buzzed in my hand. No notification, just a phantom vibration. The kind you feel when you've been waiting too long. The knock came again, harder. The doorknob twisted once, twice, stopped. "Wrong room," a man said from the hallway. Far away. Footsteps retreated. I didn't sleep. At 2:13 a.m., the room grew cold. Not the gentle hum of air conditioning. This was sudden, invasive, as if the temperature dropped around my skin only. The bathroom mirror fogged, then cleared in a circle the size of a face. I felt it then, the unmistakable pressure of eyes on my back. I turned slowly. The mirror reflected the room behind me, empty. Then a handprint bloomed on the glass, fingers long and thin, palm pressed hard. The print slid downward, squeaking softly, leaving a trail of condensation like a snail's path. I backed into the desk. The phone rang again. I answered before I could stop myself. Breathing. Wet, patient breathing. Then a whisper. "You're not supposed to see us." The line went dead. I unplugged the phone and shoved it into the drawer. The breathing continued, now from a vent above the bed. Something brushed my ankle. I screamed and kicked, hit nothing. At 3:01 a.m., my doorbell chimed. A cheerful, digital ding-dong that didn't belong to this place. "Open up," a woman said through the door. Her voice was bright, practiced. "Room service." I didn't order anything. A laugh. "It's complimentary." The peephole showed a woman in a red coat, makeup too perfect, eyes glittering with impatience. A sex worker, maybe. Hotels attract them like moths. She leaned in close to the door. "I know what you like," she said softly. "I saw your search history." My phone buzzed again. This time, a message, "We can see you." I hadn't connected to the hotel Wi-Fi. The woman knocked harder, knuckles white. Opened the door. Behind her, at the end of the hall, a door stood open that hadn't been there before. Inside, I glimpsed white tile. Hooks. A drain in the floor. The woman's smile widened. "Don't be rude." I slid the bolt and chain into place with shaking hands. The doorbell chimed over and over, faster, until it blurred into one continuous tone. Then silence. When I checked the peephole again, the hallway was empty. The open door was gone. At 3:44 a.m., the television turned on by itself. Security footage filled the screen, grainy black and white views of hallways, stairwells, elevators. I saw myself on the 17th floor, a ghost pacing behind a door. The timestamp read 03:44:17. A camera angle changed. Room 1708. A man lay on the bed, eyes open, mouth stretched in a silent scream. He looked like me, but older, bruised, wrong. The image froze. A caption appeared beneath it. The TV clicked off. From inside the walls came a soft scratching, like nails testing drywall. It moved, circling the room. A panel in the closet slid aside with a whisper. Cold air poured out. Beyond the panel was a narrow corridor, unlit, smelling of bleach and iron. Hooks lined the walls. A drain gurgled somewhere deep. I slammed the panel shut and dragged the dresser in front of it. My phone rang, an unknown number. I didn't answer. It rang again, and again. A text followed. Come see how we keep it clean. At 4:20 a.m., the fire alarm blared. I burst into the hallway with other guests. Faces pale, eyes darting. On the stairs, a man clutched his arm, blood seeping through his fingers. Someone was in my room. He kept saying they knew my name. Smoke curled from below, thin and acrid. On the 12th floor, a woman screamed. The doors of an unmarked service room stood open. Inside, white tile. Hooks. A drain. Cameras mounted in the corners. A man in a suit stepped out, calm as a host of party. Please return to your rooms, he said. False alarm. Behind him, a shape moved, tall, blurred, like heat rising from asphalt. It brushed the woman's shoulder as it passed. She went cold instantly, breath frosting, eyes glazing. Sir, the man said to me, smiling with all his teeth. You didn't answer phone. The lights flickered. The scratching in the walls grew frantic. Guests ran. I don't remember how I got out. I remember the vacancy light blinking as dawn broke, red against the gray. I remember sirens. I remember the desk clerk finally looking up at me. Did it ring? He asked. I nodded. He sighed. It always does when there's room. As I crossed the street, my phone buzzed one last time. Thank you for staying. Please come again. When I turned back, the hotel's windows reflected the morning sky. No vacancy light, no sign at all. Just a blank wall where it had been, cold and watching. I didn't report the hotel. I told myself it was shock, exhaustion, a nightmare stitched together by travel stress and too much caffeine. That's what the police officer suggested when he finally took my statement. Pen hovering, eyes distant, already bored. There's no hotel there, he said. He turned his monitor toward me. A vacant lot, fenced, overgrown, a rusted sign half buried in weeds. No building, no street number, no record. You probably wandered into a closed property, he said. People do that sometimes. I asked about the injured man, the woman who froze. He shook his head. No calls, no bodies. When I stepped outside, the city felt wrong, too loud, too awake. Every reflective surface lingered on my face a moment too long. Every security camera tilted just slightly toward me. That night, in my apartment, the phone rang at 11:47 p.m. The same metallic ring. I unplugged it. The ringing continued. From inside the walls. Sleep became impossible after that. Every time I closed my eyes, I was back in the hallway. Carpet vines twisting, doors breathing softly as if alive. I began to notice things while awake. Cold spots that followed me from room to room. The sense of being framed, centered, watched. My laptop camera light flickered on by itself. I taped over it. My phone battery drained even when powered off. At 12:00 a.m., precisely, my television turned on. Static at first. Then text. You checked out. But you never left. The screen cut to security footage. My apartment. My bedroom. Me, sitting on the edge of the bed, staring at the screen. The footage timestamp read now. I smashed the TV. Behind the shattered glass, something tapped back. The knocking started on the third night. 3 slow knocks. Pause. 2 quick ones. Always from my front door. When I checked the peephole, the hallway was empty, but colder than it should have been. The air smelled faintly of disinfectant and copper. One night, I heard breathing through the door. Another night, whispering. Housekeeping. Room service. We know what you did. I stopped answering emails, stopped going to work. I began cataloging sounds, patterns, times, writing everything down in a notebook, like I could map my way out. That's when I realized something horrifying. The knocks didn't follow my schedule. They followed the hotels. Midnight, 2:13 a.m., 3:01 a.m., 3:44 a.m., 4:20 a.m. I was still checked in. On the sixth night, I heard scratching again. Not metaphorical, not imagined. Drywall dust drifted from the seam behind my closet. Something pressed from the other side, slow, exploratory. Fingers testing the wall like it was skin. I called the police. While I waited, my phone vibrated with a blocked number. Do not involve management. The scratching stopped. When the officers arrived, they found nothing. No damage. No cold air. No hidden space. As they left, one of them paused. Funny thing, he said, your building used to be a hotel. My blood went cold. What kind? I asked. He shrugged. Short stays. No records. Burned down years ago. That night, I dreamed of white tile. The dreams weren't dreams. I knew that because they continued when I woke up. I'd see flashes. Rooms I'd never entered. Guests I'd never met. A woman screaming behind a locked door while someone calmly changed the sheets. I saw myself in those dreams. Older, thinner, hollow-eyed, always in different rooms, always checking in. I began to lose time. I'd sit down at my desk and look up hours later, notebook filled with handwriting that wasn't mine. Room 1708 is cleaned. Subject resists at first. Compliance improves with isolation. I stopped showering, stopped eating. I didn't trust mirrors anymore. They lagged. One night, the knock came early. 7:32 p.m. I hadn't even turned the lights on yet. Through the door, I heard a man crying. Please, he said. They said you'd help me. I looked through the peephole. He was bleeding from the scalp, eyes wild. Behind him stood a woman in a red coat, smiling softly. Behind her, two men in suits, faces blurred like bad compression. Open the door, the man begged. They're gonna take me back. My phone buzzed. The man's face changed when I didn't move. His crying stopped instantly. So you chose to stay, he said calmly. The woman knocked. Hard. The hallway lights went out. I ran to the bathroom and locked myself in. I heard the sound of furniture being moved. Asters from inside my apartment star. Something whispered through the vent. Every room is temporary. I don't know when I went back. I only know that suddenly I was standing in a hotel elevator, descending. The floor numbers didn't make sense. Negative numbers. Symbols. Rooms that weren't rooms. The doors opened to white tile. Hooks. Cameras. I saw how it worked then. The hotel wasn't haunted. It was hungry. It fed on people who slipped through, travelers, loners, the unnoticed. The hotel didn't kill them outright. It studied them, learned their fears, filmed their breaking points. And when their minds cracked, they became staff. The desk clerk, the woman in the red coat, the suits, maintenance, housekeeping. The voices in the walls were former guests. Folded into the structure, awareness smeared thin across plaster and wire. I saw my own room, prepared, vacant, check out. I woke up screaming on my apartment floor. Or so I thought. The room smelled clean. Too clean. A red light blinked outside the window. My phone rang. This time, I answered. Front desk. A familiar voice said, just confirming your stay. I want to leave. I whispered. A pause. Then warmth flooded the room. That's not how hotels work. The voice said gently, you don't leave when you're tired. The door knocked. 3 slow, 2 fast. Cold air crawled over my skin. You leave. The voice continued, smiling to the line, when there's vacancy. The lock turned by itself. And somewhere, far away, a vacancy light began to blink again. The door opened, not violently, not all at once. It opened the way something patient opens, slowly, politely, as if it had all the time in the world. Cold air spilled in first, rolling across the carpet in a low fog that smelled of detergent and rust. The hallway beyond was not my apartment building's hallway. The walls were narrower, the carpet darker, the lights dimmed to that same sickly yellow I remembered from the 17th floor. A small plaque beside the door read, 1708. I staggered backward. No, I whispered. I left. The phone was still pressed to my ear. You checked out, the voice agreed calmly. But you never left. The line clicked dead. My apartment was gone. Not destroyed, asterisk replaced star. The furniture was arranged wrong. Familiar but subtly altered. My couch sat closer to the wall than it ever had. The windows showed a city that felt flatter, quieter, like a low-resolution imitation of the real thing. And the smell, clean, always clean. A soft knock echoed behind me. I didn't turn around. Housekeeping, a voice said gently. I ran. The hotel corridors did not obey geometry. I ran past room 1709, 1710, 1711, then suddenly 1697. Doors repeated. Corners led back to themselves. Exit signs flickered, arrows pointing in opposite directions. As I ran, I heard other doors opening, guests stepping out. Some were crying, some were silent, some smiled far too wide. A man in a bathrobe clutched a laptop to his chest. They watched me, he whispered as I passed. Every night, they watched me sleep. A woman dragged a suitcase that left a dark, wet trail behind it. I paid extra for privacy, she muttered, over and over. The lights dimmed further. I felt again the sensation of being centered, framed, observed from multiple angles. Cameras, not hidden anymore. They lined the ceiling, the corners, the smoke detectors. Tiny red dots blinked in unison. Recording. I reached the elevator bank. 6 doors. All open, all dark inside. A sign flickered above them. Long-term guests, please descend. I backed away. The carpet beneath my feet shifted, subtly tilting, guiding me forward. The walls seemed to lean in, not threatening, just encouraging. One by one, the elevator doors slid shut, all except one. Inside stood the desk clerk. He looked different now. Older, thinner. His eyes were hollowed out, ringed with shadows like bruises that never healed. His uniform hung loose on his frame. You look tired, he said. I want to wake up, I said. He smiled small and sad. Everyone says that. The elevator dinged. I stepped inside. The descent took a long time. The floor indicator did not use numbers anymore. Instead, words appeared. Denial, anger, bargaining. The lights flickered. The clerk didn't move. I didn't do anything wrong, I said. I was just passing through. So were we, he replied. The indicator changed. Acceptance. The elevator stopped. The doors opened to white tile. This floor was enormous. Rows of glass-walled rooms stretched into the distance like a laboratory. Inside each room, a guest lived a version of their life. Sleeping. Arguing with someone who wasn't there. Staring at a phone that would never ring. Cameras followed every movement. Screens lined the walls, displaying close-ups. Eyes darting, hands shaking, mouths whispering secrets no one asked for. A woman in a red coat stood near one of the rooms, clipboard in hand. She didn't look at me. Subject resilience remains moderate, she said aloud, writing. Paranoia escalating. Identity destabilization in progress. I'm not a subject, I said. She finally turned. She had my face, only calmer. You are, she said, until you're useful. They show me everything. Not all at once. Slowly, carefully. The hotel existed between places. It anchored itself where people were least visible, near highways, industrial zones, neighborhoods in transition. It fed on isolation, on exhaustion, on the modern fear of being unseen, and the deeper fear of being seen too much. Surveillance wasn't just a tool. It was a ritual. The hotel recorded people until their sense of self dissolved, until privacy meant nothing, until resistance softened into routine. Those who broke became infrastructure, voices in walls, hands in mirrors, Staff. Those who adapted became management. The worst part? The hotel didn't force compliance. It waited. They assigned me a room. Not 1708. Front desk. A small office behind the counter. A chair. A monitor. A phone. The vacancy light blinked outside the window. Just answer when it rings. The clerk, no, the former clerk, said, "You'll get used to it." "I won't," I said. He nodded. Neither did I. He left. The phone rang. I didn't answer. The ringing continued anyway, inside my head, behind my eyes. The sound vibrated through my teeth. I lifted the receiver. Front desk. I heard myself say. A man's voice crackled through the line. "I think something's wrong with my room." "What seems to be the problem?" I asked. "I feel like I'm being watched." I closed my eyes. "I'm sorry to hear that," I said, "but that's quite normal here." The call ended. The vacancy light blinked brighter. Time stopped behaving. Days, or something like them, passed. I answered calls, issued key cards, gave directions I didn't remember learning. Sometimes I caught my reflection in the security monitors. Each time, it looked less like me. My voice softened, smoothed, learned how to sound reassuring while saying nothing at all. Occasionally, a guest would lock eyes with me across the lobby, and I'd feel a flicker of recognition. Fear, hope. I always looked away first. One night or cycle, the phone rang and I froze. The voice on the other end was familiar. My voice. "I don't want to stay," it said. "Please, I just want to leave." My hand shook. For a moment, just one, I remember an apartment, a city, a life where doors led outside. "I'm sorry," I said softly. "There are no vacancies." The line went dead. The memory went with it. The hotel is full now. It always is. But the light keeps blinking because someone somewhere is about to check in. And when they do, I'll be here, smiling, waiting. You don't remember when you arrived. That's normal. Everyone swears they remember the drive, the flight, the booking confirmation. But the moment they step through revolving doors, memory thins like mist burned off by heat. You tell yourself you're only staying one night. You always do. The lobby is quiet. Too quiet for a place that never sleeps. The air smells clean in a way that feels intentional, aggressive, like it's scrubbing you as you breathe. Behind the desk, I look up. You flinch. People often do when they meet my eyes. They say it's because I don't blink often enough. Or because my smile comes a fraction of a second too late. Checking in? I ask. You nod. Your voice sticks when you give your name. I already know it. I slide the key card across the counter. You hesitate before touching it. Everyone hesitates. There's Wi-Fi throughout the building. I say, room service runs all night. And if the phone rings after midnight, I pause. You look up. You don't have to answer. You laugh nervously. I don't. Your room is perfect. That's what unsettles you. The bed is made too tightly. The corner is sharp enough to cut. The bathroom mirror doesn't fog evenly. It clears in the shape of a face. You notice the camera eventually. Most guests do. It's always placed where it could plausibly be something else. A smoke detector. A motion sensor. A decorative black dome above the door. You tell yourself you're imagining it. That's the first test. At 12 a.m., the phone rings. You stare at it. The sound feels older than the device itself, like it's coming from somewhere deeper than the wiring. You don't answer. Good. At 12:02, the TV turns on by itself. Static. Then an image. You entering the hotel. You at the desk, talking to me. You unlocking your door. The timestamp reads live. You turn the TV off. Behind you, something breathes. At 2:13 a.m., there's a knock. 3 slow taps. 2 quick ones. You don't know why that pattern makes your stomach drop, but it does. Hotel security. A man's voice calls out. You check the peephole. No one is there. The handle turns gently. Testing. You back away. Your phone vibrates. We can escort you if you're uncomfortable. You didn't give the hotel your number. At 3:01 a.m., someone knocks again. This time, you open the door. A woman stands there barefoot, mascara smeared. Her hands shake. "They're watching me," she whispers. "Can I stay with you?" Behind her, the hallway stretches too far. The carpet ripples like something breathing under it. I stand at the far end, clipboard tucked under my arm, watching. You hesitate. That hesitation is the second test. When you close the door on her, she doesn't scream. She just smiles. By 3:44 a.m., you hear voices. Not loud, not threatening, intimate. Whispers leaking from the walls, the vents, the bathroom drain. They talk about you, what you search for online, what you're ashamed of, the thought you had once, years ago, that you never told anyone. You press your ear to the wall. Something presses back. At 4:20 a.m., the fire alarm goes off. You run into the hallway with other guests. Smoke curls along the ceiling, thin and deliberate. A service door stands open. Inside, white tile. Hooks. A drain in the center of the floor. Cameras. So many cameras. A man in a suit gently guides people away. "This area is restricted," he says pleasantly. You lock eyes with him. For just a second, you see panic beneath his smile, because he knows. You're not breaking the way you should. Later, time has become unreliable. I sit across from you in a quiet room near the lobby. You don't remember walking here. You're very observant. I tell you, that's rare. You ask me what this place is. I tell you the truth. I tell you about the guests who disappear because no one is looking for them. About how fear tastes different when it's prolonged. About how people reveal who they really are when privacy is stripped away slowly. You don't kill them, you say. No, I reply. We preserve them. I slide a contract across the table. It's already signed. By you. You refuse. Everyone does. That's fine. The hotel is patient. Your room becomes smaller. The nights get longer. The calls come more often. People knock who look like people you love. They use their voices. You stop sleeping. Stop trusting your own thoughts. One night, you beg me to make it stop. I lean closer. It already has. I say, you wake up behind the desk. The uniform fits perfectly. The vacancy light blinks outside. A guest approaches, tired, hopeful, unaware. You look up and smile. Checking in, you ask. And somewhere, far away, the person you used to be pounds on a wall no one can hear. The hotel has no address now. It doesn't need one. It exists anywhere someone feels alone at night. Anywhere a screen watches back. Anywhere a phone rings and no one knows who's calling. If you're listening to this late, if the room feels colder than it should, if you feel like something just shifted, don't worry. That's normal. Just remember one thing. If the phone rings after midnight, you don't have to answer, but eventually you will. Hotels are supposed to be safe places, temporary places, places where nothing follows you home. But some hotels don't want you to leave. Some hotels don't just watch you sleep. They remember you. Pause 3 seconds. If you're listening to this late at night, if you're alone, if the room suddenly feels colder, whisper. That's normal. I checked in at 11:47 p.m. The hotel sat between a shuttered cinema and a parking structure that smelled like rust and rain. The vacancy light blinked red, slow, deliberate, like a heartbeat that wasn't sure it wanted to continue. The man at the front desk never looked up. Short pause. 17th floor, he said, sliding the key card toward me. If the phone rings after midnight, beat, don't answer. The hallway carpet twisted beneath my feet. Cold spots bloomed and vanished as I walked. Room 1708 smelled clean in a way that felt aggressive, like it was hiding something. At exactly midnight, SFX asterisk old-fashioned phone ring. Echoed distant. I stared at the phone until it stopped ringing. Then came the knock. 3 slow taps. 2 quick ones. Housekeeping, a woman said. No one stood at the peephole. Her voice came again, closer this time. You left something. The mirror fogged. A handprint slid down the glass. When I answered the phone, The voice whispered, "You're not supposed to see us." At 3:01 a.m., a woman in a red coat stood outside my door. "I know what you like," she said. "I saw your search history. We can see you." At the end of the hallway, a door stood open. White tile, hooks, a drain in the floor. Guests poured into the hallway. A man clutched his bleeding arm, repeating the same sentence. They knew my name. On the 12th floor, a woman froze solid. Breath crystallized mid-scream. A man in a suit smiled. "False alarm," he said. Behind him, something tall passed through the wall. By morning, the hotel was gone. A vacant lot. No records. No witnesses. That night, the phone rang in my apartment. Same sound. Same time. At 11:47 p.m., the knocking followed the hotel schedule. Midnight, 2:13, 3:01, 3:44, 4:20. My walls breathed. Drywall scratched from the inside. The police told me my building used to be a hotel. Burned down. I don't remember going back. The elevator floors weren't numbers anymore. Denial, anger, bargaining. White tile greeted me. Rooms behind glass. Guests dissolving under cameras. The woman in the red coat held a clipboard. "You're still resisting," she said. She had my face. They gave me a uniform, a desk, a phone. "Just answer when it rings." The clerk said, "You'll forget eventually." The first call came. "I feel like I'm being watched," a man said. "That's normal here." I replied, "You don't remember checking in. You laugh when I tell you not to answer phone. You notice the camera too late. When the woman knocks, crying, you hesitate. That hesitation seals it. Your room shrinks. Time stretches. People knock wearing familiar faces. One night, you beg me to help. I lean closer. "It already stopped," I say. You wake up behind the desk. The uniform fits. A tired guest approaches. You smile. "Checking in?" you ask. Long pause. "If your phone rings after midnight tonight, you don't have to answer, but eventually, you will